a video on a fruit bread. So I was thinking the other day, and there's a Tuscan bread which they make about this time of year at the end of the grape harvest, and they cook bread with lots of sweet grapes in it. It's something I've always kind of wanted to try, and it came into my mind the other day. However, I'm not going to use grapes. I'm going to use some blueberries because they were, well, it was the end of the day at the market, and they were going cheap. So I kind of thought we'll use blueberries instead. So how many blueberries was there? So there's about 500 grams worth of blueberries, and it's a 500. No, there's more flour than that. So it was, not 500 grams because it's sourdough, but it's like a 500 gram. I forget. Oh, I don't want to have to add it all up in my head. But anyway, it's about a 500 gram bread mixture, which I have already made and let it double in size. And now we're just going to knock it back. So maybe I should weigh how much this is. But I think that's a lot of blueberries for that amount of bread. But I think that's kind of what I want. I want lots of I want it to be absolutely a mess with blueberries. It's not a sweet bread. It's just a normal sourdough bread mixture. Come on, where are you? There we go. Right. So how much bread have we got? We've got a kilo of bread. So need to mix the blueberries into the bread and then let it proof, and then I kind of need to decide which kind of tray I'm going to use. I think that tray will be better. Can't see. Camera's a little bit too close. You know, I'm getting less disorganised. I would have thought that I got more organised as I got older, but I'm not. I'm getting worse. Too many things in the way. So, right, I think this is what I think. There's a better tray than that. That's been in the bottom of the oven. Where's my other tray? I shall be back. This one's better. Right, so we'll use a bigger tray because I think the volume of the bread's going to double the size and the amount of blueberries that we've got. So, kilo of bread mixture, and it's very dark as this, isn't it? Don't know why. There must be a reason. Maybe it's just because it's dark, because it's black. Anyway, so 500 grams of blueberries, kilo of bread. I'm going to mix it all together, knead it together. So some of the blueberries will slightly broken up, and some will remain whole. Let's see how we go. That's a ridiculous amount of blueberries. I kind of want some of them to break up into the bread, and then as it... I'm losing blueberries everywhere. Probably would have been better with grapes, but there weren't cheap grapes. There was only blueberries. So it must be a bit of a mess as well, I think. It's going to rise overnight in the fridge because it's a sourdough, but I think I need to make sure that it fits into the container. As it proves, I think it'll dip into there. As always, I didn't do any research. I just kind of thought, let's just have a go and see if it works. Oh, it's a good amount of blueberries. Right, so bread into there, and then we'll tease it out that. So there's some blueberries in it. Tease the bread out into the corners. Put these blueberries on as well. I am going for the rustic look. So that will go there like that. Get them out relatively evenly. I think they're going to pop as they cook, so we'll get the juice going into the bread. Get these out in the corner, don't want those in the corner. We want bread in the corner. So hopefully it will rise and kind of engulf the blueberries. Hopefully. Kind of the bread will rise and the blueberries want to sink into it. If we press them in like that. And they'll pop when they roast in the oven. And the juices will go into the bread. And it should be interesting. There we go. But the Tuscan bread, I've forgotten what it's called. They leave the seeds in the grapes as well. So the seeded grapes, they're not seedless. So that's a bit. I don't really want to be eating grape seeds. So blueberries are probably better from that point of view. But if it works with grapes, it should work with blueberries. And if it works with blueberries, it'll work. It'll work with seedless grapes. So yes, right. I'm happy with that now. Apart from that bit over there. Right. So that can go there. I will cover it with a shower cap. I'll leave it in the fridge overnight because I always do with sourdough. I always a second proof of my sourdough. I always let it do in the fridge overnight or for like 12 hours. So put this in the fridge for 12 hours, cover it, put it in the fridge, and then we'll bake it tomorrow and see how it turns out. Bread has been in the fridge overnight. And I've just taken it out, so it just rises a little bit. It just hasn't risen as much as I would have wanted to do in the fridge overnight. So I've taken it out of the fridge for a couple of hours and it's risen, and now we're going to bake it. I'll just clean off that around the outside. I think that'll burn kind of quite quickly. Stinking hot oven, so it's on full, it's on fan, and I've even put in a cast iron pan in the bottom of the oven so it retains the heat when it cooks, because normally you turn that bread onto a hot surface already. So this is a cold pan, so it's not going to kind of, and I can't turn it out onto anything because of the fruit and things. So we're going to cook it in this pan, and to retain the heat in the oven, I've just put a cast iron pan in, and which will, it's heated up as the oven's heated up, and it will retain that heat. So when we don't lose all the heat when we open the door. So full whack in, I reckon 25 minutes, but we'll time it and we'll see. I think we're cooked. It looks impressive. It looks impressive. Look at that. Look at that. That looks great, does that? I don't know how it's going to turn out, to be honest. I'm not really sure about that, but that looks great. I think it's going to be a bit of a... Sorry, I'm just taking some out of it. I'm burning. So we'll kind of see how that turns out. That's definitely cooked, and I think that's going to be spectacular when we tear into that. But it certainly looks like it works with blueberries, and it looks like it'll work with grapes as well, just like a normal sourdough. But anyway, we'll let it cool, and then we'll kind of see what it's like. Right, it's cool. Let's have a look. I think it's going to be slightly burnt around the outside. That sounds like it's, let's call it caramelized. So it might be a little bit too caramelized around the outside, but let's see if we can free it up and see what it's like. I mean, the fruit's going to burn anyway, isn't it? It's like when you make a bread and butter pudding, and if there's any fruit on top of the bread and butter pudding, that always wants to burn and turn into like pebbles. But anyway. I don't think I'm going to get it out in one. It's like cooking with, like I've cooked it with jam. So you can get something underneath. I'll get this underneath. Tease it out. I'm going to make a mess of it. I don't think that really matters. It was just a bit of fun. I've forgotten where I saw a picture of it. It was originally, I saw it on Keith Floyd years ago, and then kind of forgot about it. And then something on Instagram reminded me about what they do at the end of the grape season. I think in the UK we've kind of lost the tradition of peasant cooking. I mean, we've still got, you know, like Yorkshire puddings and things like that, and Cornish pasties and pork pies. They were all kind of peasant type of food, but they're not really that old in origins. You know, I think a lot of the peasant food in Europe dates back a lot longer than what we class as poor people's food in the UK. You know, like, put dripping on bread where I come from, which is not, it's about as peasant as we get age wise. Right. Easy up a little bit. I think it's important that I put all these bits on with meat, everything just not going 100% correct and right, because I don't know, I always kind of want to see things that go right and the things that go a little bit wrong. Maybe I could have baked it on a tray. I don't know. Maybe. Oh yeah, I suppose I could have turned it out and put it upside down onto a hot tray. If I make it again, I'll do it that way. Should just see. The problem is I never give up. I don't like giving up on things, so once I start doing something, I always want to complete it. So getting this out of this tin completely feeds into me. Oh, there we go. Right, that's not so bad. Look at that. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? That's going to take some soaking, isn't it? Right, so that's soaking in the bowl. Where's my knife? That was being washed up as well. So we'll have a look underneath. Can see what it looks like underneath. And that's not what we call it. That's not. It's caramelised around the outside. Let's not call it burnt. Feels good. And then let's cut into that. It's probably better torn open. Look at that. That's ridiculous, is that? That's absolutely ridiculous. Let's have a taste of this. That's lovely. I mean, you've got to use. I mean, sourdough is a better quality bread than like a bread mix or just like a normal flour type of thing. But that's lovely. That's I mean, it's not sweet. I suppose you could add some sugar to it, but that's not kind of the idea. The idea is that you take some sweet grapes and you add it to bread, and it's kind of savoury. It's sweet enough. It's probably nice with some crème légère, which I made the other week, which is really thick custard, and then equal quantities of cream, whipped cream, folded into it. That would work really kind of well. It'd probably be even nicer straight out of the oven. Yeah, that's interesting. I think you could use any fruit you wanted. I mean, it's quite ugly, isn't it? But beautiful in that kind of way. So, yeah, I think that's really nice, is that? I'm talking with mouthful. It's really nice. It's really nice. Let's have a. So let's see what it's gone like in the rest of the bread. So yeah, I mean that looks good there. And that's a bit better, isn't it? I mean, but you kind of want. You could probably do with more fruit in it. Well, it's just kind of difficult in seeing where the fruit's going to kind of come out. So these kind of bits here are going to be particularly good and really kind of fruity. But yeah, I'm happy with that. There's too much to eat. I'm going to end up having to give it away. But yeah, I think that's a rip-roaring success. And I suppose next year, when I've got my grapes from my vines are growing, I might be tempted to take some of the grapes and do that with it. But yeah, there we go. I can't remember the name of it, but it was Tuscan grape bread. That's what I'll Google and see what it was called later on.